Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell, I'd appreciate it majorly. Want to update the story about the two missing Idaho children, Joshua Vallow and Tylee Ryan, who are pictured right there. They've been missing since the last time they were seen, according to the authorities, was September 2019. I think the authorities started looking into them being missing persons in early November sometime, and their parents or their mother and stepfather gave the authorities a number of at least a few different different explanations as to where they may be. And they in each case they didn't turn out to be true. At some point, the authorities got a warrant, I believe, to search Lori Vallow's residence. Chad is their stepfather. Lori is their mother. The young boy who's 7 years old, Joshua Vallow, I think was adopted in 2013. So that's like when he was 1 year old, when he was just an infant. He's got a special needs kid. I think he's level 2 autism. I don't specifically know how severe that is in terms of how bad of autism that is. His sister, who I do believe is her, that is her natural mother, Tylee Ryan, is 17 years old. Okay, and this is from Lori Vallow's very first husband. Since last night, even last night, immediately after uploading my first video about this, I just following up on it, read something, and since that time about her previous ex-husband. She has two previous ex-husbands who have recently died in the last 2 years. Starting in 2018. Tylee's father, suffered a heart attack. I don't know if that was in Arizona as well. And then Charles Vallow, her most recent ex-husband, was killed by her brother, reportedly in self-defense. And the brother was never charged, and it doesn't seem though as if it was investigated. Although, many things have just come out in the last 24 hours. It just seems so bizarre. That same brother that killed her previous ex-husband, Charles, who's pictured right there. Okay, that's her previous ex-husband. The one before that died as well. Her brother, who supposedly shot him, I believe, in the chest twice in self-defense, reportedly, died too. The authorities started looking into this, the two children, and started considering it a missing persons case. Initially, family members asked for them to conduct a welfare check. Family members outside of Idaho, I'm assuming in Arizona, because Lori Vallow, that's where she comes from about 2 years ago. Said they hadn't heard from Joshua or the two kids, and asked the police to do a welfare check sometime in November, early November. And like I said, after the authorities followed up on a number of different stories that these two, the mom and stepdad, gave to them, and turned out to be lies, got a warrant to search their premises, and at the same time they disappeared. They left the city, and the authorities are still seeking these two, and they're both persons of interest in the missing persons, in these two missing persons cases. I believe that all these developments led them to look into the death of his previous wife, who died on October 19th, who initially it was considered that she just died of natural causes, and that's actually her there. That's not Lori Vallow. That's Tammy Daybell. Excuse me, Tammy Daybell, and that's Chad Daybell. That's this person right here, the stepdad. She died on October 19th, and she was it was considered natural causes. This sounds so crazy, but just bear with me. But upon investigating, the welfare check, and eventually this turning into a missing persons case, they started to consider this a suspicious death, and her body was literally exhumed and has exhumed on December 11th, and they are in the process of, or already have performed, an autopsy to determine her exact cause of death. And the results of that autopsy I haven't seen reported anywhere. So, but a day after, at least in one report, on the 12th, her brother Alex Cox, I believe is his name, who I haven't seen pictured in any reports, who supposedly killed her first husband, this guy, Charles Vallow, died as well. And so you basically have, four mysterious deaths. Her previous two husbands, her brother, and his previous wife, in less than 2 years, some of them quite recently. I'm not sure how soon he was killed in self-defense, but I believe it's only months prior to, the brother dying, and how the brother died, because this is all sort of just coming out layer by layer, the onion keeps just peeling back more and more. How the brother died is not really, I haven't seen how that was reported. What his cause of death was. That was a lot. I understand. This is in Rexburg, Idaho. I don't know how big of if that's a small town. It looks like it's about 30 miles north of Idaho Falls. His Chad Daybell's ex-wife, who died on October 19th, she was buried in Utah. And I think it's, hold on, Springville, I want to say. It is Springville, Utah, which is about 300 miles south of Rexburg, Idaho. I think that's just where she was buried, and that's where she's originally from, to the best of my knowledge. I know she actually worked as a librarian in Rexburg, and I think another neighboring town, and she was known to be a very pleasant, nice woman, So, but that's the reason for the distance between these two. Now, what's basically circulating from interviews that the press have had with some of the family members in Arizona, and originally, I think one of the stories given by the two parents, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, the stepfather and mother, were that the kids were staying with relatives in Arizona. And the authorities looked into that, and it turned out to be false. And her first husband, Charles Vallow, this individual there is, she lived with him in Arizona, But I think the relatives that requested, I think I already said this, the relatives that requested the welfare check on the children, in November, they're in Arizona, and some of them have been speaking to the press. And at one point, one of them had, I think the mother-in-law, the mother of Charles Vallow, Lori Vallow's mother-in-law, had posted on Facebook a long post, which is this right here, if it'll come up, all right, which I think is now taken down. I think Kay Vallow Woodcock has taken her Facebook page entirely down, not just this post for the time being. And she basically speaks of the incident that led to her son's death, Lori Vallow's previous husband. And her first husband died of a heart attack, allegedly. Before I read that, I'll just quickly, and I don't have time to, so two of Lori's ex-partners have died in the past 2 years. Her ex-husband, Joseph Anthony Ryan, Tylee's father, died of a heart attack in 2018. In July, so it's in July, just of this year, July of 2019, her husband, Charles Vallow, 63, of Texas, was fatally shot by her brother, Alex Cox, in Chandler, Arizona. Cox himself was killed on December 12th, the day after investigators exhumed Tammy's body to conduct an autopsy. Trying to nail down the timeline a little bit better here and just understand, kind of how this all unfolded over the last 18 months, it seems, is when, this individual, Brandon Bordeaux, he married the niece of Lori Vallow, of this woman here, and he gave an account, and his wife, I believe, entered this same Latter-day, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, an offshoot of that, and some of those, as I understand it, can be rather extreme, and, there's been a number of instances where they become cult-like in nature, and whatever. So, but his wife, he talks about it going back 18 months. Now, Brandon Bordeaux, who married married into Lori's family in 2008, has expressed suspicion that the four deaths in the children's disappearances may be linked to her new religious beliefs. Continues, I spent 11 years of my life spending time with Lori and her now deceased husband, Charles. told Fox 13, I don't know what happened to those kids, but I know there's people who do, and they're not talking. I love them both. I hope they're safe. They're both just innocent, and they didn't deserve to be involved in any of this. Bordeaux said his wife, Melanie, Lori's niece, followed her aunt in joining a cult with Chad. So, a self-proclaimed Latter-day Saint author, this is Chad, Daybell, her new husband, a self-proclaimed Latter-day Saint author who has written books detailing the end of the world around 18 months ago. So they have known each other for in excess, 18 months or more, even though they were just married 3 weeks after his wife's death on October 19th. You can't be a member of the church and believe those things, Bordeaux said of the cult. I think it's an infatuation with the end of the world and an infatuation with power, and they're using it to try to make money off of people's beliefs. It just makes you sad. A lot of people I care about aren't here anymore because of these ideas. That's him and his wife, her niece. Bordeaux said he does not think it is a coincidence that so many people close to Lori and Chad have died within such a short amount of time. His suspicion is driven by the fact that he believes his now ex-wife Melanie used her family's newfound religious beliefs to justify killing him. I think he accuses his own wife of trying to kill him. I don't want to go on anymore. I'm trying to figure out where, because this is in Arizona, and it ends up in Idaho. And his Chad Daybell's wife was buried in Utah. And I don't know if this offshoot of Latter-day Saints church, spans those 3 states or what. It's just kind of confusing. And that's the story there, man. That's the story there. Hopefully these kids, they find them, although, I don't know. I would expect that the authorities are going to be digging a lot deeper into all of this. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. See you in the next video. Later, man.